The Shark Deck.
Hey, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Real quick, I've been very happy with the show this week because I've been able to get into different topics. Today is no different. The headline from Yahoo: Chance the Rapper defends Dave Chappelle's gay jokes comment in Ghana. This was at the Black Star Line Festival in Ghana on January 6th. Dave Chappelle apparently made some waves. Dave's joke was, "I bet gay jokes go over so well here." Apparently everybody laughed about it. Chance the Rapper explains, "I think it's something that Dave was actually shining a light on. That's where the conversation came from. Dave was making a comment about the comedy scene in Ghana when he said, 'I bet gay jokes go over so well here,' to which everybody laughed about. And he was making a point to say in Ghana, you can make jokes about things that are about gay people, about trans people, about a lot of social constructs, just about anything in the world, but you can't make a comment about the government there. That's not funny and that's not respected, and it can be dangerous. It's the complete opposite where we come from, where we can speak about the government all we want." I can't really all the way speak for Dave. I don't want to say what he thinks or what he feels, but what I think I know about him is that he loves everybody, especially his people, meaning black people that are trans, black people that are gay, black people that are gender nonconforming, people, period. And I think in that space, I would say I don't believe that he bashed trans people or gay people at all throughout the entire conversation. Chance also talked about, apparently there's some kind of bill that Chance labeled one of the most destructive things in Ghana's future. Chance said it gives police license to target anybody, especially LGBTQIA plus people, based on something as simple as the clothes that they wear, how they self-identify, or how that officer identifies them, and it's antithetical to what I'm trying to do. I was giving Dave the opportunity to speak about who we are as a community because he was taking so much pride in the fact that he was respected as a black man in Ghana, but I don't know he would be respected that much if he were a gay black man in Ghana or if he were trans in Ghana. Meanwhile, from Ghana Web, Dave Chappelle himself has shared his historic visit to Ghana with the rest of the world on Dave's social media handles. Dave has documented his trip from when he boarded his flight to Ghana. On a voiceover, we hear Dave Chappelle saying, "It takes many people a lifetime to make this one journey. Any single son or daughter that comes from the legacy of Africans who left these shores, anytime one individual makes it back here, it defies the odds." Also in the video, Dave Chappelle conveys how saddened he was by the story he was told when he connected with the walls where the slaves had walked among others. That is known as the Door of No Return. Awkward segue here. Gilda's Laugh Fest returns to Grand Rapids, Michigan in 2023. The festival this year, March 8th through the 12th. Who's performing? Pretty good list. Tig Notaro, Pete Holmes, The Clean Comedy Showcase, DJ Dimmers, Mike Vecchione, bunch of others. There will also be something called karaoke. Is Dennis Leary performing the material of Bill Hicks? Oh, cheap shot, Johnny Mac. Ouch. I wonder what karaoke is. Karaoke. It's a comedy with a chorus showcasing comedians performing a stand-up set and then immediately singing a karaoke song selected by you. I see, so stand-up then karaoke. It's not that Carlos Mencia is going to show up and do material. Ooh, another cheap shot, Johnny Mac. Come on, you're laughing. All right, we'll keep an eye on Gilda's Laugh Fest as we get a little closer to that. This weekend, David Koechner, you know him from lots of places, including The Office, which will be relevant to this story. He'll be in Springfield. Which one? The Missouri one. And he's bringing his Office trivia show that he hosts as Todd Packer. 417 magazine spoke to David Koechner. He likes getting back to Missouri. One of the reasons is the annual The Big Slick charity fundraiser that takes place in Kansas City. It's a charity for Children's Mercy Hospital. He hosts it along with Rob Riggle, Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, and Eric Stonestreet. That's always in June. He also gets back for one or two Chiefs games as well. Convenient for you that you happen to be in Missouri. Chiefs Jaguars tomorrow. Are you going, David Koechner? He said, "Last year I had a pretty intense tour schedule. I couldn't get back to a game." How did he get to where he is now? He said, "I was always a fan of comedy ever since I was young. I was the class cut up that I always enjoyed watching old comedies with my dad, Abbott and Costello, the Marx Brothers. That solidified it. By the time I was 13, SNL debuted, and that's when I decided that's what I'm going to do." All right, what can we expect from the Office Trivia Night? He says, "It's not just a trivia thing. It's a show because I tell stories of how I got the show, stories about the show, stories about my career, anecdotes, and I do Q&A, so it's a unique experience. It's not going to be a regular trivia night. That's why it's hosted by the real Todd Packer. We have a blast doing it, and at the end of the show, the top two teams come up, and they get to do a scene with the real Todd Packer right there. That's a good time." Speaking of Saturday Night Live, new episode tomorrow. Aubrey Plaza is your host. Musical guest Sam Smith. Next week, Michael B. Jordan and musical guest Lil Baby. SNL has announced that they've changed the way standby tickets are going to work. Before we get to that, the ticket lottery for the current season is now closed. The ticket lottery for the 2023/24 season will open at midnight on August 1st. So write that in your calendar. To enter that lottery, send an email to snltickets@nbcuni.com. You may only send one email per person. Submissions entered before or after the ticket lottery window will not be considered, so don't do it now. As for the standby cards, they will be distributed at 12:01 a.m. the Saturday of a show day. So you have to be there at midnight as Friday turns into Saturday, get a standby card, then come back and hope you get in later that night. Or you can just sit home and watch it on TV. Or, hear me out, go to bed on Saturday night, wake up Sunday morning and watch the clips or maybe watch the episode on your DVR. That's what Johnny Mac does. Ted Lasso is back for season 3. We all knew that. Apple TV Plus had a big to-do. They were like, hey, Ted Lasso's coming back. That's nice. What's the date? They didn't share a date yet. They did share an image. We see Jason Sudeikis' Ted Lasso and Nick Mohammed's Nate facing off now as rival coaches. That seems to be the driving story of season 3. They also put out a trailer for something called Hello Tomorrow. I watched the trailer. I was entertained. Hello Tomorrow is a retro-futuristic vision of the future. So it's like the 1950s version of the future. So flying cars and robot vacuums and that kind of stuff. Billy Crudup stars as Jack, a salesman of great talent and ambition whose unshakable faith in a brighter tomorrow inspires his coworkers, revitalizes his desperate customers, but threatens to leave him dangerously lost in the very dream that sustains him. This thing's on Apple TV Plus February 17th. Looked like it was pretty entertaining. I don't know how funny it is or not, but the world they created looks pretty cool. I'm not even sure it's a comedy. Why'd you mention it? I don't know. I was doing the Ted Lasso thing. I saw the thing, and now I told you the story, and now I realize, oh, maybe it's not even a comedy. Chelsea Handler announced her tour. I think comedians need to start running their tour names past me. A little cocky by me, but she's calling her 2023 tour the Little Big Bitch Tour. Yeah? Is that what you want to do? All right. The Little Big Bitch Tour kicks off April 13th in Peoria, stops in Boise, Las Vegas, Tulsa, Memphis, and more before wrapping up in Atlantic City on June 10th at the Borgata. Chelsea says, because it's been so much fun returning to stand-up, I figure the more time I spend with my fans, the better. It's time to give people a little insight into how I turned into what I am today. The Little Big Bitch Tour is the sequel to her recent Vaccinated and Horny Tour. Snow Jam Comedy Festival, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Today, tomorrow, get out there, hop on a plane. What are you doing? Let's check out today's lineup. Wait, Dan Bublitz, did I mess this up yesterday and say you were doing your thing yesterday? Oh, man, I hope you didn't fly to South Dakota just to see Dan Bublitz at 1 o'clock because it wasn't actually yesterday. It's today. Dan Bublitz Jr. building a better EPK for your success. Hey, it's still good and you didn't miss it. Hop on a plane. You got till 1 o'clock. What time zone is South Dakota in? You can make it. Do it. I don't know if you could do it. Now I'm curious. All right. South Dakota time zone. They're in Mountain. Okay. All right. So let me get a flight from Newark to South Dakota to Sioux Falls. Let's see. Well, for me, from Newark, I don't know where you live, but for me from Newark Airport, it's 8 hours and 35 minutes with a connecting flight. So if you downloaded the podcast as soon as I released it at 3:05 a.m., you listen to it, we're a few minutes in. So say it's like 3:15 in the morning. You've got 8 hours. That'd make it 11 o'clock. You get 2 time zones back. You can make Dan Bublitz's thing if you want to. 6 o'clock, Snow Laughing Matter. It's a comedy showcase. Talked about this yesterday. I love 10 comedian shows. That one's at 6 o'clock. The big show tonight, Miss Shannon. You know her from Nick Mom's Night Out and Laughs on Fox. 8:30 at the Spellbound Magic Shop and Theater. Then at 11 o'clock, Snow Jam's keeping me up late tonight. 11 o'clock. Another one of those 10 comedian showcases. I love 10 comedian showcases. The Snowtime Comedy Showcase, 10 comedians from around the country. Among the comedians, Reva Riley, a DC-based comedian who got her comedy start in London, where she performed at Downstairs at the King's Head. What a great name for a place. She was also a semi-finalist in the UK national competition, So You Think You're Funny. She's also performed at the North Carolina Comedy Festival, Snow Jam previously, and the Boston Comedy Festival, also a great fest. Mike Hammock is also on the bill. His submitted bio says, hey, I've been a comic for 10 plus years. I currently run the new talent program at 3E's in Colorado Springs. I featured for Nick Thune, Tommy Davidson, Taylor Tomlinson, Nick Stefano, Alex Moffat, Vinny Montez, Chris Kattan, Monty Franklin, ... That is a nice resume there. Snow Jam Comedy Festival. Check it out, snojamcomedyfest.com. Maybe you're not going to hop on a plane right now, but they'll do this festival again next year. Put it on your radar. Plan in advance. That 90s show came out on Netflix. Did they cancel it yet? Because they cancel everything. That's why I don't start shows on Netflix. They're going to give it one season and cancel it. Hopefully I'm wrong. The Hollywood Reporter said, for every well-considered Wonder Years, there's a stilted How I Met Your Father. And this is the approach chosen by Netflix's 70s show spinoff, That 90s Show. No one is likely to describe the new sitcom as a bold take on the source material or praise its originality and bravery. It aims for nothing much more ambitious than recreating the low-key charm of its predecessor, but it hits its target with enough confidence and consistency to become a treat in its own right. All right, that's not a bad review, right? One of those things not really aspiring to be anything other than what it is. The AV Club called this version basically a Xerox version of the original, only now we're anchored by Eric and Donna's daughter Leia, who decides to spend the summer of 1995 with her grandparents and learns in the process that she's well suited to spending her days getting high in the basement while pining away for a cute boy and bonding with her next door neighbor Gwen. If you grew up watching the 70s show, you'll likely have no way of assessing whether that 90s show works on its own. Maybe it can't, and maybe it doesn't even want to. All right, those are fair reviews. That doesn't sound horrible. And from Deadline, Michael Lehrer was a sketch, improv, and stand-up performer. His credits included The Second City. He has died of complications from ALS. He was 44. Lehrer kept performing even after his 2017 diagnosis, appearing in Austin clubs in a wheelchair. He talked openly about his struggles with the disease on stage and on the comedy podcast Kill Tony. Lehrer was selected as a new face of comedy at the 2014 Just for Laughs Festival. On his last night at the Second City, he hired a tattoo artist to give him a tattoo of a brown line L train on his back during his final improv set. Michael was terminally ill and chose to end his life with the assistance of a doctor. His life partner and caregiver, Colette Montague, said Michael died with dignity on his own terms. Medical aid in dying was the hardest decision he ever made. Joe Rogan said on Instagram, the courage this man had to do stand-up while battling a debilitating disease was insanely impressive. And though he struggled to get words out, man, he would kill on stage. He was a real legend, and I'm going to miss him very much. Lehrer himself joked. He said, I have ALS. One question, where the F did all that ice bucket money go? Michael Lehrer was 44, and that's your comedy news for today. Did you hear about the border collie who recycles trash when he's out on his walks? Or how about the bear that stole someone's Chick-fil-A, but good news, left the salad behind? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac, host of 5 Good News Stories. Don't worry, I have stories about humans too, like there's a woman who makes a living because she looks like Jim Carrey. It's my podcast. It's 5 Good News Stories. 5 Good News Stories. The number 5 Good News Stories. Twice a week. 5 Good News Stories. Oh, and Shamrock Shakes are back too. Good news. 5 Good News Stories, wherever you get your shows.